Hey everyone, before we get into today's video, I actually ended up not getting any community questions this week, so I decided to include my out-of-body experiences that I documented back when they happened. The day that these experiences happened, I felt compelled to get out, do a hike, and document what I experienced. I wanted to get it recorded as quickly as I could because I know memory starts to fade very rapidly. So stay tuned for the end of this episode for some clips of my experiences of what happened when I went through my out-of-body experiences. You're going to hear a couple things that I went through that we talk about in this video, such as the vibrational state. And I can tell you from experience, it is very intense, but if you just stay calm, it will pass. So let's get into today's video, and I'm excited to share this information with all of you. Welcome back to Lights Over Loveland. For the last few months, we've been looking outward. We talked about the Watchers, the Nephilim, the lights in the sky, and the history of civilization. We've been asking, who are they, and when are they coming back? But there's a different conversation happening in the background. If you look at the research, from Jacques Vallée to the CIA's Gateway process, you start to realize that the nuts and bolts craft are only a small part of the phenomenon. The real secret isn't about propulsion, it's about consciousness. I get comments all the time asking how other people can connect with the phenomenon. How do I make contact? And the answer might not be climbing a mountain with your camera. The answer might be closing your eyes. Today we're taking a deep dive into the inner space program. We are talking about out-of-body experiences, also known as OBEs. And before you click off just thinking this is dream interpretation, I want you to know who we are referencing today. We aren't talking about mystics in a cave. We are talking about, first, Robert Monroe, a radio executive and engineer. Second, Tom Campbell, a nuclear physicist and works for the Department of Defense. And last, William Buhlman, a pragmatic researcher who treats this as science. By the end of this episode, you're gonna have the map, the manual, and the keys to the car. So let's ride. The story starts in 1958. Robert Monroe is a normal guy. He has a wife, kids, and a successful business producing radio shows in Virginia. He is a materialist. He believes that there was nothing more after this life. But one Sunday afternoon, he lied down for a nap and something terrifying happened. He describes a beam of vibration hitting his chest. It felt like he was hooked up to a power plant. A violent buzzing sensation paralyzed his body. He honestly thought he was having a stroke, and he thought he was dying. He fought it, he snapped out of it, and then he ended up going to the doctor. And the doctor said, "You're fine. You must be working too hard, and maybe could lose a little weight." This happened again and again. Finally, during one of these vibrational seizures, he thought, if I'm dying, I might as well get it over with. He relaxed and he floated. He floated right up to the ceiling. He looked down and saw a lump in his bed next to his wife. And he thought, who's that guy in bed with my wife? And that's when the realization hits him that it was him. This began a 30-year investigation. Monroe didn't start a religion. He built a lab. He hooked people up to EEGs. He wanted to know, is this repeatable? And what he learned was this wasn't special to him. Every human being leaves their body during sleep. We just don't remember it. We dream to process the data, but Monroe found a way to stay awake while his body went to sleep. So if we leave, then where do we go? Is it heaven? This is where Tom Campbell comes in. Tom is a physicist. He worked in Army intelligence and later he worked for NASA. In the 70s, he heard about Monroe's lab and went there to debunk it. Instead, he became the lead researcher. Campbell's theory, which he calls my big toe, or theory of everything, is that we are living in a virtual reality. Think of it like a multiplayer video game. Your body is the avatar on screen. Your consciousness is the player holding the controller. When you have an OBE, you aren't going anywhere in physical space. You aren't flying through the literal air. You are simply switching data streams. You are minimizing the Earth game window on your desktop. Campbell argues that the astral plane is just another data set, a different server on a larger consciousness system. Why does this matter? because it removes the magic. And since they were engineers, they didn't use words like heaven, they used numbers. They called them focus levels. So let's walk through the map, because before you start practicing this, you need to know where you're going. Focus 10, mind awake, body asleep. This is the launchpad. Your body is paralyzed and snoring. Your mind is sharp. You are perfectly balanced on the edge. This is where the Hemi-Sync technology puts you. Next, we get into focus 12, which is expanded awareness. You are out of body, but still near the physical. You might see the room. You might see your neighborhood, and this is where remote viewing happens. Focus 15. This is a mind bender. Monroe discovered a state where time simply stops. It is the eternal now. In Focus 15, you can access the past or potential futures, because linear time is just a construct of the Earth system. And now we hit my personal favorite level, Focus 21, the bridge. This is the edge of the world. Focus 21 is the maximum level you can reach while still technically being in the physical universe. It is the border, and Monroe calls it the bridge. It is often described as a zone of intense light. This is a meeting place. If you have a relative who has passed on, or a guide who can't lower their frequency all the way down to Earth, and you can't raise yours all the way up to heaven, you meet at Focus 21. It's the visitor center on the edge of reality. It is pure connection, deep emotion, and where the fear completely vanishes. And the final focus level we're going to talk about in this video is Focus 27, and this is called the reception center. Finally, you clear the fog and hit level 27. This is what religious people call heaven. It is a stable environment created by human minds to welcome people who have died. It has libraries, healing centers, and something you'll hear a lot is parks. It's where you go to debrief when your life is over, before you decide to incarnate again. This map changed my entire perspective. It's not about judgment, it's about frequency. You go where your vibration fits. And if you can learn to hold on to your frequency at level 21, you can begin to communicate with things that are far beyond human. Okay, so now we have the theory, and we have the map. Now, how do you actually drive the car? For this, we turn to William Buhlman. He wrote Adventures Beyond the Body, which is basically the driver's ed manual for the astral plane. Buhlman teaches you that the number one thing stopping you is not the lack of ability, it is fear. When you hit the vibrational state, the loud buzzing, the heart racing, your biological body goes into full panic mode. It thinks it is dying, but Buhlman says, do not panic, surrender. And from personal experience, I can tell you the vibrational state is absolutely terrifying, but as long as you stay calm and just keep focused and not give in to the fear, it will pass eventually. Once you are vibrating, you need an exit technique. Here are the top 3. Number 1, the rollout. Don't move your muscles. Mentally feel yourself rolling to the right, like a log rolling in water. Number 2, the rope. Visualize a rope hanging from the ceiling. Reach out with your non-physical hands to pull it. Feel the texture of the rope and pull your way out of your body. And number 3, target fixation. This is Buhlman's favorite. Don't think about your body. Think about the kitchen. Visualize the fridge. Feel the cold handle. If your focus is strong enough, you will instantly teleport there. And here's the pro tip: command the environment. In the physical world, you can't just shout, "Door open," and the door opened for you. In the astral plane, thoughts are things. If your vision is blurry, which is common, then you shout out mentally, "Clarity now." If you feel stuck, then shout, "To the door now." You have to be demanding. You are the captain of the ship. We've covered a lot, but I want to leave you with this thought. Why does a channel called Lights Over Loveland that documented UFOs in the sky above me care about any of this? Because if the UFO phenomenon is interdimensional, if these beings are popping in and out of our reality, they are likely using the same mechanics. They are masters of consciousness. If we want to meet them, we might not need a spaceship. We might just need to upgrade our own software. Robert Monroe has a famous saying, "You are more than your physical body." That is a nice slogan, but when you experience it, When you look down at your own sleeping form, it stops becoming a slogan and it becomes a fact. And once you know that, you never fear death again. If you want to try this, I'm putting the links to the books and the Expand app in the description. But be warned, once you open this door, you can't close it. The world looks different when you know. It's just a game. Thank you for going on this journey with me. I think it's one of the most important topics that we've covered. If you'd like to help further my research, check out my Patreon. Or if you'd like to join the discussion and talk about these things with the community, check out my Discord. And finally, we are on the road to 500 subscribers, and I want to personally thank each and every one of you for coming along with me on this journey. I'm so excited that we are expanding out to do the Beyond the Lights podcast, and I can't wait to start having amazing guests on here to have these kinds of deep conversations and see what others are learning about consciousness and the phenomenon. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Is this something that you're going to attempt? I'll see you in the next one. Eyes to the skies and mind open wide. I guess as I'm finishing up this last little bit of this hike, I can talk about what happened last night. So last night I tried to do a meditation at 3 a.m., this brand new one that my friend found on YouTube for guided astral projections, since we've been trying to have an out of body, and it seemed to work. So at 3 a.m. I woke up, had to go pee, and usually I go to my office to do my meditation so I can be undisturbed, but the bed isn't made and stuff right now. We have guests coming. So I just decided to do it in my room. And my wife was in my bed and she was moving, so I didn't think I was gonna be able to focus too well. And this is like an hour and a half long meditation. I think it's like Beginner's Guide to Astral Projection on YouTube. Highly recommend it. Finally got me there after months of trying. But yeah, so I went through the meditation. I got about an hour into it and I accidentally hit the screen and hit an ad. So I had to stop out of my meditation to get back to the video. But I got back into it and I was able to get right back relaxed, and I've been doing the Monroe meditation, so I know how to get into that focus 10, body asleep, mind awake state really well. And I thought I had felt like tingling vibrations before. I had no idea what I was talking about. So I get to the very end of this meditation, and then all of a sudden I get this intense vibrations. Like, the shocky pins you hit with your thumbs. So I felt like through my entire body for like 30 seconds. And I went through it actually a couple times. And I was like, oh man, maybe this time I'll be able to get out of body. Nope, okay, I'll just keep laying here. The meditation actually ended and I just kept laying there and trying. Kept my focus this entire time. And finally, after like the 5th time of going through these vibrations, all of a sudden I could see through my eyelids. I could see my room, only it wasn't exactly my room. We're going to the bottom of the hike. Yep, nice easy hike. But I could see through my eyelids and I could see in my room, only my room wasn't quite the same. But it first started with me seeing the ceiling fan. So I was looking at the ceiling fan and I was like, I can see. I'm gonna try to sit up. And it really was just as simple as sitting up. And I was up. And I kind of like floated up towards the ceiling fan. I was like, oh, I'm getting close to that. And then I saw the window. I saw that it was open, when in reality we had the curtains closed. And I was doing this, at this point it had to have been around 4:30, because the meditation was an hour and a half long and I started at 3. I saw my windows open and it was daylight outside, and I have a closet door and a bathroom door in my room. Those were both covered by curtains, so that was strange. So it's like this weird mix of out of body and a lucid dream. It's strange though, because I was fully conscious. I consciously sat up out of my body and began this thing. Like normally with a dream, you just kind of start in the middle of it, like you don't know how it started. And I saw the windows open, I looked outside, it was sunlight, and I was like, I want to be outside in my backyard. Next thing I know, click, I'm in my backyard, and we had a swing set that we got rid of like a couple years ago and got a trampoline instead. The swing set was there. I was like, this is so weird. Like, how do I know if this is real or not? So it had a slide on it, so I was like, if this is solid, then this has to be like real. So I went and touched that, and it was hard plastic, very hard plastic. I was like, this is crazy. And then my friend lives kind of close by, so I was like, I want to go see his house. And instead of going down the roads like I normally do, I just tried to like think about him and like go there. Well, that didn't work. I don't know where I went. I was in some like underground bunker facility or something like that. I don't even know. So this is where I don't know if it like turned into a lucid dream or if I'm just in like this dream reality. But I was fully lucid and conscious this whole time. So I don't know what to make of it. And they were just doing these random things in this facility, and I was able to manipulate the environment with my thoughts, though. Like, I was able to interact with people, and I could make them do what I wanted them to do. So that's why it's kind of like this dream reality. I don't know. It was the most vivid thing I've ever experienced as a dream, minus one time when I was a teenager. I had a sleep terror where I woke up in my room paralyzed with this thing on my bed, and then I woke up. And I had just watched The Grudge, and I thought it was that Grudge kid, but after learning about out-of-bodies and everything, I don't know what it was. So that's the only other strange dream experience I've had. And then, yeah, so I was in this facility, and then I was like, okay, I just kind of looked around. It was long hallways, there was people working, there was different rooms I checked out. There wasn't a whole lot in there. And then I was like, I want to find my family, like my parents. So I tried to go to them, and next thing I know, I'm in what I perceived as Lusk, Wyoming, which if you know anything about Lusk, Wyoming, it's this tiny little town in the middle of Wyoming that we drive through on our way to visit family in South Dakota. And I was just wandering around this town looking for my family, and then all of a sudden I found this skate park, which was the worst skate park I've ever seen in my life. There's all these stuck-up skateboarders there, and I was trying to skate with them. There wasn't even a quarter pipe. There was like one little wooden ramp, and that's all there was. So I didn't stick around there too long. And then this is where it kind of gets like fuzzy. This is why I don't know like if I fell asleep at some point. But then next thing I know, it's just back to solid black, and I'm like, oh, I'm back in my body. And I open my eyes, I take my earbuds out and look at the time, and it was 5 a.m. So all that had to have happened in the span of like 25 to 30 minutes, and it felt like hours, and I was conscious like the whole time up until the very end where it went back to darkness. So I don't know what to make of it. It was crazy. It was an amazing experience. I did not want to even attempt to look at my body when I sat up, because I've heard other people that freaks them out so bad that they snap right back in, and I was like, I finally got out. I'm not messing this up. I didn't hear any voices. I interacted with what I perceived as people in my dream, but it wasn't anything weird. And the only weird thing is I felt like I could manipulate them with my thought, or maybe we were just talking telepathically. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Now that I think about it, I don't know how we were talking. I don't know if I was opening my mouth or not. Yeah. Anyways, that's my experience. I'm gonna keep trying to have my out-of-bodies. I feel like the veil has finally been broken now that I've felt those vibrations multiple times, and I know what the feeling feels like now. And it was go through those vibrations for probably a few minutes, multiple rounds. All of a sudden I could see through my eyelids, and then it was just as easy as sitting upright. And then you, I think, just travel by thought after that. So maybe that's why I end up in all these random places, because I wasn't controlling my thoughts very well, and I don't know. Yeah. But I hope you have an amazing day, and let me know what you think about this video. So last night I set an alarm for 3 a.m. to try and do that meditation again, and I didn't really know what to expect after last night. I was just kind of wondering if I would experience anything even again, or if that was like a introductory thing and I need time to cool down. But I did that entire meditation, the hour 40 minutes, and I kept focused the entire time. And then once the meditation ended, I laid there, and like almost immediately after it ended, I got the vibration again. I only went through one cycle that time, and then afterwards is where it gets insane. So I was laying there on my bed, I was laying flat on my back, my hands like flat next to me, and I have an adjustable base for my bed, so I had my feet up a little bit, my head up a little bit, kind of like a chill, zero gravity mode. And I felt movement, extremely aggressive movement. Like, I didn't feel anything grab my legs, but it ripped my legs. Like, the best way to describe this is, you know, the Hot Wheels tracks with the motors that are going. When you put that car in and it shoots off, that's what it felt like. But it was feet forward, straight on. It felt like the wildest slip and slide I've ever been on. I could feel the sheets like sliding under my fingers as I was going. I just kept my eyes closed and I tried to remain calm as much as I could. And that went for what, I don't know why I have this estimate in my head. It felt like a quarter mile being dragged across my sheets in the matter of 15-20 seconds. So that happened, and then I was in this house. All of a sudden I could see. I was in this house, and there was like a couple other people there that looked pretty normal, and I tried to speak, and it just came out all deep and like slow, like, so I started kind of like, what is this? I like start freaking out a little bit, and then for some reason I started trying to attack the people in there, so I'm like smacking them, like trying to get them away from me, and I see there's a door, so I go through the door, and I'm in this other room now, and probably this is the craziest part of the whole entire experience. So I went to this room, and it was filled with like smoke, probably about 3 feet, and there were these little, that looked like humanoid kind of beings, that were probably about 4 feet tall, really big heads, kind of like the Roswell beings, which also could have been influenced by my own consciousness, because I did watch the Unsolved Mysteries Roswell episode that night before I went to bed, so it definitely could have been in my head from that. But I saw at least 2 of them, and it was just like their heads basically sticking out above the smoke. And then this is where I kind of freak out. Fade to black. I know I'm back in my body. I'm like, okay, I'm back in my body. I'm just gonna lay here again. Ripped out again. Got dragged for what felt like another quarter mile across my sheets. I could feel them sliding under my fingers. Like it felt like a slip and slide. Like it was crazy. I was just like going. Did that, and then all of a sudden I could see again. I was in a different house. It was like a kitchen, open dining room. There was an island, and there was a bunch of food on there that looked really good. And this was a much calmer vibe. I didn't try to speak or anything. There was a couple people there, and then the host was a woman that came up to me, and she was very friendly and said, please enjoy any of the food. And so I picked some. I don't even eat these anymore because they're super unhealthy, but fudge dipped Oreos. So I grabbed one of those and ate it, and it tasted exactly like it. So I could taste this time around. And yeah, after that, I ate that cookie, and then next thing I know, back to black again. go for a wild ride a third time. And this is where it gets fuzzy, because my elbow, like on the little bone that sticks out right here, started hurting extremely bad. I don't know if I was just laying on it a certain way or what, but it started getting extremely painful. So after that, that's basically all I can remember is the pain from that. And then boom, I'm back in my bed. It's black. I decided to open my eyes to make sure I was in my room. I was in my room. I did not lose consciousness yet again, and took my earbuds out, looked at my phone, and it was 5:15. So I did my meditation at 3:15 this morning. I looked at it again. It's an hour and 40 minutes long. So that would put me to like 4:55. So in the span of 20 minutes, I experienced all of that. It definitely did not feel as long as my dreams experience or whatever out-of-body lucid dream thing that happened the day before. That felt a lot longer, even though it's probably about the same time span in real life. But it definitely felt like at least an hour going through all that stuff. Yeah. And then I just went to sleep after that like normal. And I slept for like another 2 hours before I got up, and I really wanted to document what happened as quickly as I could, because I think so much happens in that experience, and our brains are only capable of processing so much at a single go that it's informational overload to the point where you can't remember all the details. It's like when people have enlightenment experiences, they get the full knowledge of the universe pumped into their consciousness, and it's just too much to handle. And when they come back, they can only bring back like a small piece of it. So it could be something like that. I'm also now wondering if this is how dreams are started. Because, normally dreams, you just kind of wake up and you're in the dream. That's basically what happened after I had that extreme movement. It could also be the tunnel I've heard people talk about traveling through. I did not see a light, but granted, I was just looking straight forward up at my ceiling. I did not move my eyes at all. I was kind of just freaked out and along for the ride and doing my best to stay calm. I don't know. I'd love to hear from anyone if they've had a similar experience at all with that kind of movement, because it was wild. It was extreme. It was very extreme. And yeah, so now I'm just trying to process what happened the last couple days. I'm going to try again tonight, because my goal was I thought it was going to be similar to the previous night. I'd be able to get out of my body, and then I had the intention to meeting my guides or my higher self. I really want to meet something of my higher self, and I was not in control last night. Like I couldn't manipulate things with my thoughts like I could the night before. I couldn't get whatever beings to do what I wanted them to do with my thoughts. So this was much more solidified. Still felt as real as this right now. While it was happening, of course, after you wake back up, it feels like, it's just something strange. But the closest thing you can compare it to is a dream. Yeah. So let me know what you think of this, and yeah, let me know what you think about these vlogs too. I am actually having a lot of fun, and I feel like this is actually very good for me and healing for me, and it gets me out there and expressing myself in ways that I don't normally do, and I can grow as a human being, and that's ultimately what my goal here is. And those were my experiences. It was very crazy, and I was on such a high after that first night. I was so excited to go into the second night to try to have another out-of-body experience, And what I experienced instilled such a great level of fear that it blocked me from being able to attempt this for quite a while. It has now been a little over a year, and I think I have finally removed that fear block. So, like I said, if this is something you want to practice, go for it, but also be prepared, because once you open that door, there's no going back. Once you know you're more than your physical body, and there is more to this reality than what you experience in your waking consciousness, you are forever changed. So I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into out-of-body experiences, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. What did you think about this video? Have you ever experienced an out-of-body experience? And yeah, I will catch you all in the next video.